Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Leal. The moon is going through Aquarius today and tomorrow. In fact, it is going to move to Pisces on October 31st. The time, it is going to depend on the place of the world that you are. Here in Argentina, it is going to do so close to the midday. So the moon in Aquarius entered in contact with Pluto, and this turns into vision. Circumstances are visibilized of the collective that are showing ways of managing the power that respond to distortions of society, as what is happening in Brazil right now. And those kind of events are very related with this aspect Mars Uranus of the next full moon in Taurus. Aspects with Mars, we feel them with quite anticipation, and one of the manifestations in shadow could be the violence and the explosions, these social explosions that are sudden linked with Uranus. So that's why it is very important to focus ourselves in our individual labor, so that growth, that inner growth, can connect us with our purpose in this world, to reveal light and to extend that light to whatever thing is surrounding us. Because, well, there are a lot of things that are happening in our planet that perhaps are not going out there in the news. So precisely today, Mercury entered in Sagittarius, and this is in this first instance, it is going to stay until November 19th because of the retrogradation. So I'm going to add a certain information of what I said on Sunday. This is a sign that is intrinsically linked with the seek of expansion, of a sense of a purpose in the experience, and to approach that seeking is the path and the way of connecting with this sense of our soul in this plane. Mercury in Sagittarius is a mind that could, want to find a truth. Some people could do this through a philosophy, a religion, and a specific ideology, which are topics linked with Sagittarius, But I think that when we start to amplify our look, we understand that the light of truth is in everything. Even in lies, there is a hidden truth. In fact, many times, in order to lies to seem to be something that we can believe, they have a partial truth. And there is only one truth, the essence of infinite, the infinite essence of cosmos. But each one of us possesses our perception, initially conditioned by the context, our culture, our experiences, and they are completely valid and part of our path. But also it is going to be necessary to let go of those beliefs and the structures of thought associated to our identity, so we can amplify our vision. And in this process, it is also very important to not believe that we have come to the absolute truth. In no moment, because that could be one of the shadows of Mercury in Sagittarius. Fanatism with a belief or a form of thought. And beyond that, we can actually find temporary answers, and they are also necessary. It is important to observe these traps of the ego when we are turning into a dogma our perception, attaching ourselves to a security area and closing ourselves to the growth. Closing ourselves to understand that there is always more, there is always far beyond, new forms of comprehending this reality and to perceive cosmos. I myself have I have Mercury retrograde natal in Gemini. I think that you can see that is retrograde, which is the opposite axis, and Gemini represents the questions. Sagittarius is the answers. So many times when I reach to an information that I actually have resonance, I seek for opinions that can be opposite to evaluate that information, to try to see it from other points of view. And as I was saying, each one of us, we have our barriers of perception. We all have them, because having the absolute truth is the comprehension of the infinite. So we are simply mortals reminding of our essence, but that doesn't mean that we have to be in agreement with every external perception. And those distances, they can even be a form of enrichment and of questioning to access to another level of knowledge, or to confirm, certain temporary answers that we have right now. I'm saying all of this because Mercury is opposing to Uranus retrograde in Gemini, that is inviting us to new revelations from other points of view that we didn't consider before. In other cases, could be they could be uncomfortable because they are breaking with structures of thought. And this is the first of 3 oppositions with Uranus. In fact, the aspects that Mercury did during the passage in Scorpio with Saturn, Jupiter, and Neptune, forming this grand trine of water that I've been talking in the last videos, they are also going to be repeated 3 times. And the sextile with Pluto in Aquarius that is perfected tomorrow, but is active today, because on November 9th starts the retrogradation. So for you to understand, we have the aspects of direct motion, later the aspects that is going to do when it is going backwards from our visual perspective. Remember that there is no planet that goes actually backwards, and the ones that does when it is once again direct. So the next 2 oppositions with Uranus. Uranus, it is not going to be in Gemini anymore. He's turning back to Taurus, and it is going to stay there until April of 2026. So we can integrate this cycle of 7 years that initiated officially in 2019, because it had a first entrance in 2018. So these contacts are going to be very, very interesting. We are going to talk about this later. It is good to be attentive to synchronicities, even the disruptive situations, to see them as signals, and also these ideas, that can bring these sudden resolutions that can, we can receive them as a download. This is something very linked with Mercury and Uranus. And even though at times we can experiment the Uranian energy as in a chaotic way, we truly see as chaos those things that we are not understanding in a higher order. And the fact that we are not seeing that doesn't mean that it hasn't that sense, So when we make genuine answers that are emerging from this wheel of growth and of expansion of consciousness, we are opening this vessel so the light can come in the right moment when we are ready to receive that. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.